Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this Lunch and Listen, focusing on a wonderful new partnership and the launch of Raw Carrot Soup Enterprise, the Kitchener Extension site. I'm really excited to be able to have this day and have you here joining us for this Lunch and Listen. My name's Greg DeGroot-Majetti. I'm the MCC Ontario Walking with People in Poverty Program Coordinator. And so the Raw Carrot Soup Enterprise Extension Site, Kitchener Extension Site, is one of the programs that's in the Walking with People in Poverty program area here. And it is a wonderful partnership between MCC Ontario, the Raw Carrot Soup Enterprise, which is located, the hub and first site is located in Paris, Ontario, at the Paris Presbyterian Church. And it's also a partnership, it's a three-way partnership also with Stirling Avenue Mennonite Church, where the actual production of soup in Kitchener will be taking place soon. I want to also mention this initiative couldn't have come together without both the partnerships, but also some generous funding from a number of sources, because it costs quite a bit of money to get startup funds to launch an initiative like this. And so we have been very fortunate to receive funding through the region of Waterloo, their Social Innovation Fund, NCC Canada's Innovation Fund as well, Kindred Credit Union, the Kitchener-Waterloo Community Foundation, and Group Convex and their Social Enterprise Development Fund. So it's with that support, too, that we're able to launch this initiative. So today we'll have a presentation from the founders of the Raw Carrot and the directors of the Raw Carrot Hub, of which then our extension site becomes a part. And that's Rebecca Sherbino and Colleen Graham. I won't say a whole lot about them because as they tell the story of how Raw Carrot came together, you'll get a little bit of sense of that. And then we'll also, after their presentation, I'll invite Sue Clausen from Stirling Avenue Mennonite Church to come up and say a few words about Stirling's involvement in the partnership as well. And then hopefully we'll also have time for questions. And if you haven't already noticed, we have got two slow cookers with two types of the soup that you can sample, the signature carrot soup and the spicy-ish sausage soup. So again, samples, feel free to go get some for yourself. And without any further ado, I'll invite Rebecca and Colleen to come up and speak with us.
All right, good morning. We are so thrilled to be here today. As with any partnership, it takes a while for things to come to fruition. And this has been an exciting venture for us because we personally have loved the work of MCC for many years. I come from a nonprofit background myself, and so I was well aware of the work that happened at MCC. And when we thought about expanding this concept of the Raw Carrot out a little further, MCC was the first organization that came to mind. And so it's been probably about a year in the making of some discussions, and we're really excited to be at this stage in the partnership and moving ahead with Stirling Avenue Church, Mennonite Church, and yeah, so great to be here. So I just want to start by telling you a little bit about a woman that I met named Amanda. I met Amanda when she was 13 years old, and she was a young woman that went to our church congregation. And Amanda grew up with some challenges. Both of her parents were on the Ontario Disability Support Program, and she herself had some intellectual disabilities. And in addition to those challenges, there was a variety of things. She probably read only at about a grade 3 learning level, really struggled with math. However, those things notwithstanding, Amanda was someone who loved to come to our church congregation. She was one of those kids that was just always around, loved to help out, always had a big smile on her face, loved to work with the kids, helped out in the nursery. She actually babysat both Colleen and I's kids growing up. And so although we had met her at about the age of 13, we watched her through those growing up high school years, those some formative years as you're deciding what's next in life and what opportunities await you when you finish high school. But that circumstance was very different for Amanda, obviously with both her parents being on long-term disability support themselves, and with her own challenges, it seemed like really the only plan for Amanda was to try to get her diagnosed with her disability and to get her doctor to diagnose her so that she could immediately after finishing high school go straight on to long-term support as they were. And I think that to them seemed like the only option because she struggled and they knew what it was like to have those struggles. And so that was going to be her security, was having the social assistance to back her up. So it was about this time, just as she was graduating high school, that somebody had told me about an employment training program that was happening in Brantford. And I thought, we had had many conversations about Amanda through those period of years when we kept thinking, she's got so many skills, and yet we just don't know what's next. And so I thought at that point, let's try and take her, let's see if we get her involved in this employment training, maybe she would have some avenues that would give her something more, because it just seemed like she had so much potential. And so I committed just that little bit at that point in time to get involved. And so I drove her twice a week to Brantford for a period of about 6 months. And we were really excited about the opportunities. The employment agency were thrilled with her. She had so much potential and a lot that she could offer, and she had lots of interests. And so they'd promised that at the end of the training, she would have a couple interviews, and they were really hopeful that she would come out with something. Well, we came to the end of the training and she participated in 3 interviews, and she didn't get any of the jobs. And so there was really a great sense of disappointment, I think, for both of us. Me sort of looking at the situation and thinking, wow, I raised her expectations, hoping that she could do more, and now those have been dashed because I didn't know what was next. And her in the same sort of situation of, working towards something and nothing coming to fruition. And I think we both felt like that was the end of it. The only option left to her was assistance. And so, I looked at Amanda, and we'd been having these conversations back and forth about a number of people in our church congregation with various disabilities, some mental health challenges, some disabilities of various kinds. And, these people were accessing the church ongoing, not only for financial support, but for emotional connection, for relief from social isolation. And we just thought there has to be more for people who have so much to give. So it was out of this sense of frustration and many conversations that the Raw Carrot Soup enterprise was born. The vision of the Raw Carrot is to create meaningful work for individuals on social assistance and with barriers to traditional employment, but that want to and can work. And so at that point in time, Colleen and I both decided that we weren't exactly happy with what we were doing in life, in our jobs. We weren't feeling fulfilled in what we were doing, and so we decided to take a little bit of a break and to get this venture off the ground. And so that was just going to be a period of a year. We were willing to give it a little try and see what happened. And so the model of the Raw Carrot is really simple. We utilize existing spaces like churches that have commercial kitchens that are available throughout the week, if they're willing to partner and have a vision for marginalized people in their communities. We hire individuals from that community that are on the Ontario Disability Support Program, and we prepare, cook, and package gourmet soup, handcrafted gourmet soup. We sell the soup in the community, and we reinvest all of the profits back into the initiative. So in our first year, we hired 4 staff members from our congregation, and we hoped to sell $5,000 worth of soup. That was our big dream. We sold $25,000 worth of soup in that first year, and we quickly realized that maybe God had a bigger plan than we ourselves had envisioned for what we were doing. So we are now into our 4th year of operations in Paris, and we've paid over $35,000 in staff salaries and sold over $90,000 worth of soup. So as you well know, social enterprise being in this organization, but a social enterprise is an initiative with a double bottom line, making an income and making an impact. And instead of asking people for money to donate to yet another program, because that's just becoming harder and harder, We thought that this model, and we didn't even know what a social enterprise was when we first started this, but if we could make soup and try and pay for what we were doing and pay the staff, it would be a win all the way around. And so that's really what we were doing, trying to create a product that would have value, that would keep people coming back again and again if they liked it, that they could feed their families on a fast, easy, gourmet, homemade type of soup, and that they would come back, and that was then a win for them and a win for us to support the business. So this next one is just a couple pictures of some tasty soup, which you're getting to try, and we've got about 9 different varieties now. However, as awesome as we feel like the soup is just the vehicle to accomplish the goal, which is to create meaning, dignity, and purpose and participation in community for the people that are working with us. It's a means to increase food and livelihood security for them. And we believe that we've been called to this ministry to fulfill the biblical mandate to assist the poor and the oppressed in our community and to expand that out.
So as you can tell, Rebecca and I are very passionate about the work that we do. And we're passionate for multiple reasons, and a lot of it's around the impact, because we see the impact for our staff, we see the impact for our church, for ourselves, and for our community. Our staff have told us over and over again that although making money is a really great offshoot to having their work, the greatest impact is the fact that they're part of something, the fact that people rely on them, that if they don't come to work, the job doesn't get done, that if they aren't a part of it, the product isn't as good. They've learned their roles and they feel like the team doesn't work well without them there. And that's something that a lot of them haven't experienced in many different situations in their life. We now have a part-time kitchen coordinator that works in Paris, and we have 8 part-time staff. Our Paris kitchen still has a place where that can grow. It still has space within it. And so we could go up to 12 to 15 staff in Paris. And instead of it just being something that we're able to give them this year, because we've built the business around it, this is long-term impact for them for a very long time. We have had some staff transition from us and be successful out in other more traditional work environments. And some staff have stayed with us right from the beginning. We've had a very low attrition rate, to be honest. We wanted to introduce you to a couple of our staff members. So here on your left, my right, is Paul. Paul is a gentleman who has struggled with mental health illness for many years throughout his life. And it's severe enough that even though he works very hard with his physicians, he is quite up and down with his illness. And so he has struggled to ever keep a job and maintain it. And he's been able to work with us for 4 years now and be a very successful member of our team because we can tailor the schedule to work within his needs. Mallory, who's in the middle, was actually only with us for about a year. Mallory came to us not long out of high school, and she didn't have a lot of self-confidence, had no work experience, and had some different challenges in her life. And since working with us and gaining her confidence and her work skills, she's actually been able to transition on into full-time work at another company with her father. And then on the end, making soup, is Ryan. Ryan came to us in a period of life where he was trying to rebuild his life. He'd had his children taken away by Family and Children's Services for multiple reasons, and he was on a path to rebuilding that. And one of the pieces around that was to be able to economically support his children and to be able to afford better housing, to be able to have a safe space for his kids. So Ryan did lots of hard work, but a small piece to his journey was the fact that with part-time employment, he was able to make enough money to afford housing that was of better quality, and his children have actually now been returned to him on a full-time basis. There's many, many stories that we could tell you. All of our staff receive between 15 and 25% more per month on top of their ODSP stipend. Some of it in the wide range is because some staff can work certain numbers of hours, and that works for them in their situation, and other staff can work more, and they do take on more, and so then they're able to earn more. All of our staff report a better quality of life, all self-reported, more dignity and a feeling that they belong to something and they belong somewhere and that they're a part of our community. So then when we look at church impact, multiple studies over the last few years have shown that churches with a mission are much more engaged in their community, they're making tangible differences, and people are engaged in the church because they see the work that they're doing. We're filling our church in Paris and the church in Mount Forest a few days a week. The kitchen's open, there's people coming in, there's individuals coming in to buy the soup, they're interacting with the staff. It's all a whole community piece instead of in isolation. The other piece that Rebecca alluded to was, as in every church, you have a benevolent fund that is helping people in crisis and to help them move through those crisis times, but sometimes that benevolent fund starts to become part of their every month plan because they have no way to change their circumstances. But now, because they're working, we have many people who aren't accessing the benevolent fund anymore because they now have a way to support themselves through those crises because they have work. And volunteer support. We have many volunteers from within our church and from outside of our church, individuals who may never have crossed the threshold to come into a traditional church, but they want to come in and work in the type of work we're doing, and they've been able to become part of the community in a way that was very non-threatening and very comfortable for them. And then we look at community impact. All of us, right? All of us want to be credible. We want to be relevant, and we want to be engaged with the communities that are around us. And having the reputation of the Raw Carrot within our community has opened those doors for us to be able to partner with different community partners that, again, wouldn't often think about partnering with a traditional church. We've had school groups come to us with certain needs and certain situations where our church has been able to partner and to support them through pieces where they never would have come to us before we had this type of outreach that was happening. So this is our theory of change, and we wanted to put to paper some of the work we were doing and our mission to the work we're having. In 2016, we began to be approached by other organizations who saw the work that was happening and that we were doing, and they were wanting to replicate. And so we opened our second kitchen in Mount Forest, way up north in Mount Forest United Church. And they're now successfully up and running. They're just coming to the end of their first year of operations this summer, and they have 4 part-time employees, and they're successfully selling their soup and becoming part of their community and on the path to growing. And now we're excited to be here announcing and getting rolling with our new partnership here with Stirling and with the Mennonite Central Committee of Ontario to be able to open our third kitchen. And we're very excited about this. We think there's great opportunities here in Kitchener, in this community. I think we're going to, I think Jen is going to be working to hold off the sales to make the soup instead of it being the other way around, which is a fantastic piece to have. And, you know, I've already started receiving multiple phone calls from individuals looking for work, and they're so excited this is coming. And so you know better than we do the need that's right here, and we're excited to be able to be part of a piece of the solution for here. So now we're going to show you a video. This is one of our first staff members, Amanda, that Rebecca told you her story at the beginning. And we did this video after she had been working with us for 2 years.
Yeah, the rutabaga is the hard one to cut. But we use a lot of carrots. Yes, coming to work, it makes me happy because I get to hang out with people I like and gives me something to do instead of being bored. It's changed my life by giving me more money to help with bills, food. I have pets, I spend it on my dogs, I spend it on groceries for food to eat, and sometimes my mom. This is the type of job I like to do besides working with kids. Some days we have to put on a happy face if we're not too happy because of what else is going on in our life. But other than that, it's pretty happy in there.
So thank you very much for your time. And we're happy to take questions. Did you want to have Jen come up?
Let me first
Yeah.
invite, there are two other people I want you to meet, but first let me invite up, well, first let me say, as you know, MCCO loves partnerships. And I was just checking my emails. It was almost, not quite a year ago, we got first contacted from Rebecca. And it meets, I mean, the mission of the Raw Carrot meets the need that we've seen with our program participants. So we were very interested in this partnership. But though we have a wonderful facility here, we do not have a commercial kitchen. So for this partnership to work, we needed to reach out to a partner church. And there is a church with a real sense of mission, as Rebecca and Colleen talked about, that were one of the first that we thought of and approached, and it's Stirling Avenue Mennonite Church. And so I want to invite Sue Clausen to come up and just say a few words from Stirling Avenue about their role in this partnership and why they decided to join us all.
Sure. This has been an exciting journey for us. It was the start of June, and I should say the end of June, and we were contacted by MCCO. So Josie Winterfeld got that. She's our Missions, Peace, Justice, and Outreach staff person at Stirling, and got that invitation. And fortunately, we had a meeting 2 days later for our Missions, Peace, and Justice Ministry, and we were like, well, yes, of course, we'd love to do this. But of course, process, right? So we were able to go through this process, and summer, right? So, but we had a lot of excitement as well as lots of good, hard questions about how this would work. So by the end of September, we had a yes from our church council. We've been able to walk through this with excitement. We are so thrilled to see our commercial kitchen being used in this way. We have received large grants that have made getting a commercial kitchen possible, primarily through Shant's Mennonite Church. And I mean, for our own sense of mission and to honor that huge gift from them, we were really delighted to be able to say yes to this. We want to see our building full of missional work, where we see impact. And then when we've seen the response from funders to this, it's like not just us that get this, that it's really important and life-changing, and of course the participants who get it, first of all, but the funders are also seeing this is something we really need in our community. So we are delighted to have this. We had our own sort of lunch and learn. We had Rebecca and Colleen come in January 21st and talk both children's story and, get introduced in the service, and then our faith formation, like adult education class after that, and then a soup lunch that was well attended. And in our faith formation class, the questions were like, where can we buy soup and when, and how can I volunteer? And so we've seen a lot of excitement that way and are delighted to be partners in this.
Thank you, Sue. So just one other person I want to introduce, and then we'll open it up to questions. So Colleen referred to Jen, and Jen Clausen is recently hired MCC Raw Carrot manager. Can't remember the exact title. And she started Extension Site Manager. There we go. She started in her position. Why don't you step in the little square here so people on the thing. She just started a couple weeks ago in her role and has been going to Paris, Ontario, which is a location for gourmet food products, just like Paris, France, and beginning her training in that work. And so I don't know if you want to say a few words or if we just want to open it up. And, you can pose questions to Rebecca and Colleen or Jen or Sue, or do you want to maybe say just a few?
I'm excited to start making soup. Yes. That's about it. And Sue and I are not related, although we both do go to Stirling Avenue Mennonite Church.
Could you say something about the connection between the Raw Carrot and Saturday supper?
Yes. Okay, so for the question is, can I say something about the relationship between Stirling and the Raw Carrot and Saturday suppers? So for many years we have run a program called Saturday Suppers at Stirling, and it's a dinner that we have, and we invite community people to come in, people who are homeless or low income or precariously housed. They come in and we seat them at a table with tablecloths, and we serve them their dinner, and it's a lovely, sometimes they call it date night, actually. It's so popular in the community. And I had been working there for many years, and that sort of stirred my heart to throw in my hat and see if I can be part of this other wonderful venture.
So, yeah, we have.
For people who are on a disability and they're hired, does that impact their guaranteed income at all when they get paid a salary?
Right, so right now, the way Ontario has the disability support program set up, individuals can earn up to $200 per month that is free and clear. On top of that, they also receive another $100 a month for the fact that they're trying to work. So as long as they work 1 hour a month, they can receive the extra. So they really can make $300 free and clear. Once they go over that $200 mark in earnings, in salary, it's then clawed back 50 cents on every dollar. When Rebecca and I started this, we were very careful to make sure we scheduled everyone under that $200 because we felt that they probably would not want to break that barrier and then have some clawback happening. The staff have shown us exactly the opposite. They want to keep working, they want the hours, they want to be part of it, and they want to work up to their abilities. And so what we have learned through this, that you have to get quite a ways in before you actually start putting your ODSP in jeopardy. And so one of the other pieces that we do very intentionally is that we partner with employment agencies within the town where the kitchen is happening so that the staff member has someone to work with that understands the system, understands exactly what's in their ODSP bundle because it's individualized to every single person, what supports are available to you, and they work with the ODSP worker to make sure that we're never getting into a space of a possible, possibly putting them in jeopardy, because this is not full-time work, which means it will not support them on a full-time basis. And there's many other supports through the ODSP program that our staff members need, and we do not want to jeopardize, but we've never gotten even close to that space yet. And we stay in close contact with those agencies so that we can make sure we're always understanding that piece. Yeah, and our idea is to hire out more. If there's starting to be that many hours, we want to impact more people than less. And so we're always in that balance of if you have the skills, we want to give you some hours, but we also want to help some more people as well. So we try to keep that in careful balance as well. Yeah.
Production is one thing and marketing is another. And so I'm curious about what opportunities you found as far as marketing the soup.
So we use a lot of word of mouth marketing, to be completely honest. We use a lot of social media, and then all of our partners that we work with always keep us in their pieces when they send out to any of their groups. They market with us as well. We've not had a problem reaching out to that point, to be completely honest. And our staff members are very good when they ramp up slowly. Change is often a hurdle for them, and so we try to make sure that we moderate that change. And so we don't go out and go for a huge sales increase this month. We go for long-term change, which up until now, the community marketing and the word of mouth marketing has worked for us in that space. We do a lot of community vendor type shows in the beginning because that's what gets the word out and then brings people into the building to buy the soup. Yeah.
But if you have any suggestions, we'd be happy to hear them.
Yes. We're always happy to try new avenues. Yeah.
I mean, we've worked pretty hard to make it a product we wanted the Raw Carrot to be more than just we're a few ladies in the church basement cooking a pot of soup. We wanted it to be a professional endeavor that felt like it could be, in a retail location and that people had confidence in, because we are hiring people with disabilities and on social assistance, and sometimes there's a perception around that. And so we really did want to make sure that didn't impact sales at all, because sometimes if people think homeless person or precarious housing, They think there's just things that come to mind, and we didn't want that to be part of anything at all, so we've been pretty intentional in our marketing and advertising and the digitally designed packaging and things like that to try and keep those things separate. Yeah.
That's the same question I had.
Okay.
I might have missed it at the start, but so you've got the spot in Paris and then a new one in Mount Forest and now here. Is it all under one kind of structure, or are they franchises? I'm kind of interested in the business.
Yeah, so no, we are not technically franchises in a business perspective. There is no Raw Carrot separate from anything else. We started in Paris under the umbrella of our church congregation as the pilot site there because it was a ministry of the church. And for that reason, the church was very engaged with the ministry and it hasn't separated. And so when we thought about how we would move this out to impact more people, we wanted that same feeling. And so the way that we've morphed that is just that each Raw Carrot becomes the ministry of the church and partnerships within which it is. Because we didn't want it to feel like it was just an outside group coming in and utilizing those facilities and that it wasn't part of the church. We really wanted to embed the ministry into the mission of the church, that it really was a together thing, so that the development didn't become separate from the mission. Yeah, so does that answer your question?
Yeah, and included in that, but there's a very tight partnership back in with us. So we call ourselves the hub. We're kind of the piece that helps to support all of the extension sites to be successful. And we're more successful when the extension sites are more successful. So we're very closely tied in, but the actual operations run in under the church and the partner organization. And then we are there to support with all of the marketing, all of the branding, the soup development, all of the quality, all of those pieces. We're there to support all of those pieces so that each site doesn't have to recreate any of those pieces. So we can, we can have large scale purchasing and help bring down the cost. We can do all those pieces for all the sites. And we do that as the hub piece. So it's a true partnership, but because we're running under a charity, it's not a franchise, right? But we joke around about social franchising. We joke in that, but we try to make it a true partnership relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the impetus, that was the impetus to us going out and trying to offer this to others. It's probably worth noting that Colleen and I both quit our jobs. We both did this for no pay for a long period of time and probably really only at about half pay now to continue to do this. And it is a passion project. But the reason that we were able to do it in Paris was because we quit our jobs to do it and took no salary. So that was the only way that we were able to spend all the time on the marketing and the web design and every piece of the business we've done ourselves because we didn't have money to pay anyone to do it. Not that that's the ideal to continue as you grow, but just to say that I think some of the reason that a social enterprise sometimes fails is because it's hard to run a small business. It's a different thing than running a ministry or than running a program where you're running off donations. Running a business where you have to be paid out of the business is a totally different feeling. And so we felt that if we offered to people what we had already created, that we could pretty much just, give that, and that would allow them to get up and running so much faster than we had to be able to take that and run with it and hire people.
Well, thank you. It is 12:30, so I think that Rebecca and Colleen and Jen and Sue and Josie maybe can stick around for a little if you have additional questions. I was going to ask one final question to Jen, but I won't put her on the spot. But it was going to be, if anybody today were interested here in Kitchener in buying some raw carrot soup, even though we haven't started production yet, we've been able to source soup at cost from the Paris kitchen, so we can begin sales already and begin building revenue to help support the soup production here in Kitchener, which we hope to have started around the mid to end of April. But if you're interested in buying soup, we actually have it for sale now in this building at 50 Kent in Kitchener. In the MCC office, there is a freezer back there in the kitchen area, and we will have it all set up with a sheet where you can leave your money, buy your soup, mark down what you bought, and take it home. It's frozen soup. It takes a little while to thaw out, we have learned, but it's very good. My family loves eating it, and so every time I've been to Paris, I always come home with a lot of soup. And now I don't even need to go to Paris to get all that soup. So a big thank you, not only for coming to speak with us today, but for the inspiration, the perspiration, all the hard work to get this wonderful initiative off the ground, and for reaching out to us to partner. I'm super excited. I think there are a lot of people in our community that are very excited to have the Raw Carrot here in Kitchener and getting off the ground. So big thank you to Rebecca and Colleen, to Jen, and to Sue as well. Thanks.
Thank you.